The universe believes, NXT believes in our champion, Joe Hendry.
What people think is an overnight success is actually a lifetime of hard work trying to put the puzzle pieces together. Ricky thinks that I'm a meme, but I know exactly what I am, and I'm the sum of all of my parts. A man who's lived multiple lifetimes to get to this point, a WWE superstar, an NXT champion. As a kid growing up in Edinburgh, Scotland, I loved WWE, but it felt like an impossible dream, so I threw myself into my hobbies. I was doing judo, theatre, I was playing live music, and by the time I graduated from university, I had a master's in business and marketing, a black belt in judo, and I was touring Europe as a musician. But deep down, I knew something was missing, so it was New Year's Eve 2013. At the age of 24, I finally made the decision to pursue my dream of pro wrestling. I started training in Glasgow, and that's where I met Robbie Brookside. And thanks to him, I got my first WWE tryout after only a year. I knew I wasn't ready then. I didn't fully believe in Joe Hendry, but I kept at it. I knew I had to sharpen my skills, and that's why I picked up amateur wrestling as well at a relatively late age. But because of my judo background, I was actually able to win 2 gold medals at the British Championships. I also started tapping into my musical background, and I started creating musical parodies for my opponents. And I was just trying to do anything I could do to generate some buzz for myself, but it's really starting to work. And before I know it, I'm wrestling some of the biggest names in the business all across Europe. I'm wrestling Cody Rhodes, Kurt Angle, Drew McIntyre, and before you know it, I've written my own theme song, I've recorded it, I'm streaming, I'm podcasting, I'm using everything that I've learned from a marketing degree, and this is all starting to work. I'm starting to build my name, I'm building my popularity. I even made it to America. Everything's going great, and then the world shuts down. When you're that close to achieving a dream, you have 2 choices. You can give up, or you can keep believing. And I used that time to reinvent myself even more.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
I dyed my hair blonde, I bulked up to 265, and when the world opened back up, I used the last of my savings to buy my own visa so I could get back to the States and sign with TNA Wrestling. Finally, I believed in Joe Hendry, and now I just needed everyone else to believe in me. When I finally made it to TNA, it was like starting from scratch all over again, but I was ready for the climb.
Anytime I had an uphill battle, the world was always chanting, "We believe!"
I worked myself into title contention, and I noticed on TikTok that my song was just absolutely blowing up.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
So I gave myself an education thanks to YouTube on how to get a song into the charts. And after doing that, eventually it gets to #1.
My song that we filmed right here on the daily iTunes charts has got to #1 in the UK.
And not long after that, I made my first appearance on NXT.
Say his name and he appears. Joe Hendry is here in NXT.
And it becomes the most viewed video on X in all of wrestling that year. Finally, the puzzle pieces clicked together, and I won the TNA World title. I competed at the Royal Rumble. I appeared at WrestleMania.
Well, I can't believe it's Joe Hendry!
Who would have thought that a TNA champion would be at WrestleMania?
And whilst being on the biggest stage was a thrill, I still knew all roads led to NXT.
There's only one thing on my mind, and that one thing is the WWE Performance Center. I want to learn from the very best entertainment organization in the world today.
Becoming NXT champion is the culmination of all the work I've done along the way to get to this point.
NXT believes in our new champion, Joe Hendry.
Most guys like Ricky Saints think that I'm just a song and a smile. I know who I am. I am your NXT champion, and I believe in Joe Hendry.
So if you're sitting here today thinking, this kid from Scotland might just have something, then give me an opportunity, because you just never know where the next WWE superstar will come from.